Hello, YouTube. It's been a while. But I wanted to come back onto this account, and I really want to go get back into doing collective readings, and kind of just pushing out my services as a reader. If you don't know me, I've been reading tarot on TikTok for about 2 to 3 years. And I've been practicing tarot for about 5 years. And of course, I feel like now it's time that I start to push myself off just of the TikTok platform. Of course, there is that fear going on about TikTok being banned and things of that nature. So I feel like this is my wake up call to just push myself to do different things and just put myself out there. In this video, I want to specifically talk about, as kind of almost like an introduction to me, my experience with tarot itself and how tarot has impacted a lot of my mental health. I feel like this is a conversation that not a lot of people have, about, obviously mental health mixed in with spirituality. Of course, there's a lot of different avenues and things that we can talk about when it comes down to how spirituality affects our mental health and things like that. But for me personally, I kind of want to share my experience with how I found tarot and how, in a positive way, it impacted my mental health, and also how, in negative ways, it impacted my mental health. And I feel like this could provide a lot of different perspectives for people who are beginners, maybe people who are professional tarot readers, where I feel like this will provide a different perspective and a different kind of, like, I don't know, just a personal experience from someone that may help you go through a personal experience that you may have with tarot itself. So how did I find tarot? How did it find me? Okay, so this was back in high school. I like 2016, I was a freshman in high school. I was very into astrology, obviously, the zodiacs and things like that. I was very into, kind of just space and time and just kind of those ideas, if you want to call it that. Around junior year of high school, I was really exploring me as an individual. And a big part of my exploration process was trying to find out who I was, when it comes down to my sexuality. And in high school, obviously, high school is a very stressful time for pretty much, I would say, everybody. You're kind of just a really young kid. You don't really know where you're going, where you're headed. You don't know what's to come next after you graduate high school. You don't know what you want to do. You're trying to figure that out. What college am I going to go to? It's a very anxious and stressful time. And high school is definitely a prime time to kind of find your light, if that makes sense. Find your individuality. I think it's a very prime time for that. And in high school, obviously, me not being comfortable with my sexuality for so long, and like having all this peer pressure in high school, and like people coming out and wanting to have, young love and things like that, it was a very hard thing to deal with. I feel like astrology kind of helped me, I guess, trying to better understand myself. I don't know why, to be honest. Like, I don't know what my purpose was to get into astrology like that. I'm not an astrologist. Like, I literally only know the basics of astrology. Like, I'm not here researching astrology every day. I don't know. I felt like astrology kind of gave me a little bit of a comfort. I can't really explain why. Around junior year of high school, when I started to explore my sexuality, I had a really triggering connection with somebody. And I don't really want to get into depth with that, and that could be another story time video or something like that. But it was a really triggering relationship that kind of, uh, it hurt me big time. It hurt me a lot. Somebody that I trusted, somebody that I thought was there for me, 100%, hands down. I found out that they weren't, and I told them that I was, bi curious, and they ended up telling multiple people literally as soon as I told them that. So that was a very traumatic experience for me. And obviously, going through a traumatic experience where you kind of feel exposed and vulnerable, and you don't know what really people are going to tell you or judge you or things like that. It was very depressing. It was a depressing time junior year of high school. Around that time, I was kind of giving up on everything. I was giving up on my education, giving up on my uh, spirituality, and also I did grow up Catholic. So at this time, I was very into, Jesus and kind of the saints and stuff like that. Prayer, going to church, whatever, blah blah blah. I was lost. I didn't know where to go. I didn't really feel like things were worth living. Like nothing was really worth living. Um, so obviously one day I was scrolling through YouTube, looking at horoscopes for, Virgo, because I'm a Virgo, looking at horoscopes of like what's to come for, the next month or something like that. And then I found this kind of area on YouTube where it was just like a bunch of tarot readings, like collective readings on, like, signs for Virgos, for Scorpios, da, 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 da. And I was like, what is this? So obviously I started watching those videos one day and I was like, oh my God, these are the cards that psychics use, like in movies and stuff. You know what I mean? Like the scary card of like death and like, like how it's portrayed in movies. And I was like, I'm really interested in this. Like, I never seen this before. I never knew that there were cards that you could just buy on Amazon and you could like learn how to be psychic or something like that. You know what I mean? Basically, I found tarot through astrology, and I feel like tarot found me because at that point in time, obviously, I was like depressed and stuff like that. And I feel like at that moment, when I found those collective readings, they really did help me kind of have hope in myself and faith in myself, and made me feel like I wasn't like I shouldn't be afraid of my sexuality. I shouldn't be afraid of what I was going through because I felt like there was somebody out there that didn't know me that knew what I was going through. And it felt very intimate, and I loved that. Around this time, my mental health was has never been good. Especially at the start of middle school, I was realizing that I was having panic attacks and things like that. In high school, I was having a lot of anxiety troubles. And anxiety became a really big part of my life, especially during high school. It became something that was kind of eating me alive. But that wasn't something that I really talked about a lot. It wasn't something that I expressed a lot really until probably like senior year of high school. While I was watching those tarot readings and stuff like that, I found that it was actually hurting me than it was helping me. And this was a realization that I made like later in my tarot journey, where I realized maybe the way that I was, digesting tarot content was just unhealthy for mental health. And this is where I want to, tie in my mental health or mental health in general with tarot. As a reader on TikTok for 2 years, I'm very beginner. I'm still learning so much about tarot. I'm like expanding my knowledge every day. Right now, I'm currently learning Lenormand, so that's really exciting. But I found that a lot of readings that people get on TikTok are really heavy. And what I mean by that is a lot of times you go to tarot to help you kind of get over a breakup or things like that, but a lot of times you see people using tarot to help them support their fears, if that makes sense. During my journey, I found that there was a lot of times at the beginning of my tarot journey where I would literally watch collective readings every second of the day just so I could know that my relationship was going to come back into fruition, that my ex was going to come back to me. It got to the point where it was so unhealthy. And instead of helping me with my mental health and my anxiety and depression, it kind of just made it 100 times worse. Thankfully, now, years later, I realized why I had to go through that and why I had to really break down tarot and break down the meaning of tarot, if that makes sense. And learn, of course, read books and things like that. I've realized that I was basically using tarot as a crutch to get over depressive thoughts, depressive emotions, and things like that, and heartbreak. I really wanted my ex back, and I was using tarot to kind of validate that he was coming back. And I had to realize that what I was searching for was not what I needed. I didn't need somebody to come back into my life to be okay. I needed to be okay with myself. And that's when I started to realize that tarot is really there to support that idea of personal growth and personal development, and providing a bird's eye view to my subconscious and my situations. And ever since I've been looking at tarot that way, it has catapulted me emotionally in ways I never thought before. I have realized though that mental health and tarot kind of do go hand in hand, especially at a time where tarot right now is so easily accessible. I don't have no statistics, I can't back this up, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure mental health is on a rise, especially in young people. And because TikTok is such a big platform and it's very easy to be recognized on there, tarot is very easy to consume. And a lot of the times people don't really understand the difference between like using tarot as a tool and using tarot as a crutch. And I feel like a part of my purpose, a part of what I've understood about tarot is that it's not something that's supposed to just validate your anxiety. It's something that's supposed to validate your growth. I feel like we're not honing in on the mental health aspect of tarot, and how, again, they do go hand in hand. In my opinion, I feel like spirituality and mental health really are very close to one another. Anyways, I don't really know the point of this video. I didn't make no bullet list that will tells me like what I'm going to talk about. I just wanted to come on here and kind of just speak my truth, speak my feelings, and just my experience with tarot and mental health. I feel like obviously tarot is a relationship, and sometimes with relationships you don't really understand the person at first, you don't really get why they're like this or whatever, but then you compromise, you know what I mean? And I feel like I'm at that point in my tarot journey where I'm really starting to understand and realize um, the best way to utilize tarot and how I can help other people with that. With that being said, this account specifically, I want it to be for collective readings. I want to do collective readings on here. I want to do love readings. I want to do whatever, general readings, whatever I need to do. I love doing collective readings, but I feel like I definitely want to be a spokesperson, or I don't even want to say a spokesperson. I ain't gonna lie to you. I just want to be somebody who kind of brings the conversation about mental health into the picture with spirituality and tarot, based off my own experience. All right. But that's really all I got to say. Um, I'm gonna try to post more on this account as much as possible. I'm gonna try to uh, post collectives this week with Lenormand. I'm gonna try to do collectives with Lenormand because I am learning that. But yeah. Anyways, subscribe, comment, like. However YouTube works, I'm trying to figure it out. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope that you guys will see me in another video on my account. But anyways, bye y'all.